There's a lot of skepticism about house churches because they don't seem formal enough. They don't carry the weight, and they don't have the numbers that are necessary, it seems like, to be a legitimate church in American, by American standards. So what I'd like to do today is just extol the virtues of a house church. In the first place, the first century church often met in homes because they didn't have access to public facilities, at least not on a regular basis. And sometimes they didn't have access to large enough facilities in order to be able to take care of a good-sized crowd. So the church, because in the early days of the church, it was outlawed by the Roman Empire and chased by the Jewish people, authorities at least, that it often had to meet in homes where there could be teaching, there could be singing, there could be praying, but there could be especially fellowship. In the first century, the church did not come together, according to Acts chapter 20 and verse 7, in order to be focused on a pulpit or a stage. In the first century, the church was focused on a table. They came together around a table. And it was at that meal that so many of the things took place that we find missing in the church today. Fellowship is a very difficult thing to engender because fellowship is more than merely coming together in the same building and acknowledging that we all agree to the same things. Fellowship is belonging, sharing, partnering with each other. And that takes place best in a setting where people can openly talk back and forth to each other. In the first century, it becomes pretty obvious that the apostles were engaged in conversations, in debate back and forth, instead of merely proclamation, which was the announcement of facts to a large group of people. That took place, of course, and there are several of those incidences mentioned in the book of Acts. But what you see taking place in the church as a whole, the devotion of their lives, was directed at, fellowship. And fellowship takes place where people know each other, where they pray for each other, where they can look each other in the eye and see each other and understand what each other's going through, where they can share their heartaches and their questions and their concerns, and that can be taken to God in prayer. It can be enjoined around a meal where they're eating together and talking with each other and forming bonds that are going to last forever, because what takes place around table is a fellowship. People find out about each other. They learn about each other's lives, and in so doing, they bind together as a fellowship. And they really truly become partners with each other. And so I would like to extol the benefits of a house church. I've met in one now for several years, and I can tell you firsthand that fellowship takes place in a house church in ways that a large church setting, a traditional church setting where everyone's looking ahead at the stage and focused on what's going on and what's taking place up there, is sometimes more as a form of entertainment, that does not take place when you're in a small home setting and you have people talking back and forth to each other, and the lesson is even directed at trying to answer questions and help deal with concerns and learn and understand what the scriptures are saying, instead of having someone merely making an announcement to you. I'm not saying that fellowship can't take place in those larger settings, but usually you have to make a special effort in order to make those things happen. I'll talk more about denominationalism and the current shape that the American church takes, but I want to extol first the value of a house church, that it's every bit as legitimate a form of church as the large settings where everyone's focused ahead. In fact, it's a place where true partnership really takes place. If you're in our area, Farmington, Arkansas, we'd love to invite you to join us in house church. If you're in some other area, I encourage you to get involved in a house church or even to start a house church, even though it may not have all the official direction that people expect from church. You'll find that you can study the scriptures and you can come together in a way that really truly honors God and binds you to each other in this great work of spreading the gospel of Jesus and his ways in the world, where people are truly living it out. My website is, or my YouTube site is Stifling Jesus. Please join us in this great adventure of following Jesus. Thank you.